Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Take your seat. Srishti Jayant Deshmukh.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about you.
Sir, my full name is Srishti Jayant Deshmukh, and I come from Bhopal. I'm an enthusiastic and determined girl. I have done my graduation in chemical engineering from Lakshmi Narayan College of Technology. And I recently completed my diploma in women's empowerment and development from the Indira Gandhi National Open University.
Okay. Why it is Srishti? We have heard of Srishti, but this is a very unique name, Srishti.
So in Marathi, the word Ri is pronounced as Ru. So that is why the pronunciation goes Srishti. So hereby the spelling, sir.
So you are basically an engineer. You have completed your engineering, and thereafter you have developed interest in civil services.
Yes, sir.
What has inspired you to join civil services?
Sir, I believe that it is a job as dynamic as being a civil servant that will utilize all my capacities and capabilities. And it will be a journey to a life of large-mindedness where I will be able to care about other people's lives, their dreams, their passions, apart from my own.
What are the priorities you have thought of, priority areas where you will be really doing a good work once you get selected?
So the first area which I am really eyeing is on education. I believe that India is coming up with a lot of children and youth. So skill training and education is something that we need to focus upon.
What are the problems being faced in education, particularly at the primary and secondary level, in backward states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar? Have you tried to analyze?
So the problems which I feel prominently is the quality of education. We have ensured that children come to school, but the quality of education that they are gaining, the learning outcomes, they need to be monitored the next. So this needs to be focused.
Suppose you are posted in a district of UP or Bihar where level of education is extremely poor. Girl child, they are not given incentive to study. Those who study also, they leave midway. So what steps will you take to ensure that, number one, they get quality education, and number two, they continue their studies and finish their school?
So the first point, I'll make sure that the teachers are attending the school properly. Teachers' attendance has been deterring the students from coming to school. And teacher training as well is equally important. Secondly, sir, the schemes like midday meal scheme have to be properly implemented so that students, like especially the young ones, can be attracted to come to school and they can come there.
Why teachers don't teach, and why there is such a poor quality of teachers?
So I believe there's a lack of training of the teachers. They have done their basic qualifications, but they are not adequately trained is to ensure how learning outcomes have to be ensured. So we need to work on that front.
Okay. When you had to join civil services, why did you do your engineering course?
So
I think it's a waste on your talent and waste on you have, in fact, taken a seat from somebody who could have pursued his engineering degree or her engineering degree?
So the degree of chemical engineering has provided me with a lot of knowledge and experience with regard to the field. Currently, the issues of environment and industrial safety are prime time in India as well. So I think this knowledge will help me in the civil services as well.
You have a passion for civil services from whatever little I have heard from you. But there is a perception that civil services is per se very corrupt. And it is divided on so many criteria, on caste lines, on some other considerations, and they have their own political affiliations also. It has not remained a steel frame which it used to be. So what is your take on this?
So in a country as large as India and in a system, the bureaucratic system that we have developed for ourselves, there are bound to be challenges. Some, as you mentioned, of corruptness and otherwise irregularities or division on the basis of caste or otherwise. But I believe, sir, this should not deter the young aspirants who are believing to go into the system and try and be as close to being the good civil servant and practicing values.
Your sister, you are very young. Don't you think that you are still too young to join civil services? You should gain some experience, try to know the country in a better way before joining the civil services and acquire more knowledge, so to say.
Sir, the very fact that UPSC allows us to sit for the examination at 21 years, I believe, is good enough a reason to try and sit for the exam. And I have worked on my front, studied what all I can to excel in this.
Okay, thank you.
Srishti, what do you know about C.D. Deshmukh?
Sir, C.D. Deshmukh was one of the first civil servants in the country. And he's also been the governor of the Reserve Bank of India. So, this much.
And what about Nanaji Deshmukh?
Sir, Nanaji Deshmukh was a very prominent social activist. Even a politician, he was active in the field of politics as well. And his works have been in the states of Uttar Pradesh, where he has worked for coalescing the different people and trying to bring the backward forward.
Who are the three personalities who have been awarded Bharat Ratna this year?
Sir, this year the recipients are the first Nanaji Deshmukh, then Shri Bhupen Hazarika, and Sir Shri Pranab Mukherjee.
Okay, no problem, Srishti. Srishti, you have just said that you have done diploma in women empowerment. Okay, can you recollect some important judgments which have really empowered women in India?
Sir, I will start with the very recent one in the Supreme Court, which allowed the entry to the Sabarimala temple. I believe it was a good step in the right direction, where the Supreme Court allowed the women to let their right to equal worship.
Any other judgment?
Sir, the Vishakha guidelines with respect to the harassment at the workplace.
That's very old. I am talking about the latest judgments. There are almost more than 10 latest judgments from Supreme Court and High Court.
So I'm unable to recall
no
at this
problem.
moment.
You are born in March. Okay? So why the month of March is important for women empowerment?
Sir, I'll have to read on that, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you don't remember the importance of 8th of March?
I'm unable to recall.
No problem. You have done sociology. Okay? What do you know about social mobility?
So social mobility entails that in a given structure of the society, every society has a structure and a level of hierarchy. In any form, whether it is social or economic, when a person or a group is able to move from a higher to a lower or lower to a higher group, that could be termed as social mobility.
Okay. So do you think that reservation policy also leads to social mobility?
Yes, sir, it does. Reservation policy in terms of economic sense and also to the long term in the social sense, it can lead to social mobility.
Can you give me the example of some communities and also tribes who have achieved this mobility through reservation?
So the Meena caste, which is there, a tribe which have now gained a social mobility to an extent.
That's the tribe. Okay.
Yes, that's a tribe.
Any other community? You belong to Madhya Pradesh, okay?
So the Rajgond community has also.
Rajgond. They are from?
The tribes.
They are from Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other tribes in Madhya Pradesh?
So who have gained social mobility.
What is intergenerational gap?
So this term refers to the kind of intellectual or philosophical or other differences between two generations. They could be in the terms of ideas, in the terms of the traditions that they follow, or in the terms of the life that they experience.
Generally, what used to be the difference between the two generations if we talk about the timeline? So is it 15 years, 10 years or something like that?
So I'm not aware of the exact number.
You have not studied this.
So I'm aware of the concept, but not of the years which you...
Okay. One more question, and that is regarding contribution of M.N. Srinivas. Tell me something about M.N. Srinivas.
Sir M.N. Srinivas was a very prominent Indian sociologist. He tried to study the Indian society with Indian concepts. So to say, he tried to evolve certain parameters and certain concepts, the prominent one being Sanskritization.
Okay.
So, taking cue from the social mobility that you had asked, he says that with the help of Sanskritization, castes gain social mobility. Apart from that, his main contribution has been the popularization of field work in sociology.
Yeah.
He was the one who went to the villages and tried to understand the real picture of Indian villages and then tried to discern the condition of Indian society.
Okay. Last question. Generally, South India and Western India, it has witnessed many caste movements, but not North India. What is your take about this?
So in the South India, there has been a direct clash between two castes, the upper and the lower one. In the North India, sir, there has been a proliferation of middle-level castes. That has been a factor because of which a direct clash has not occurred. And I believe politically the middle caste factor has been taken advantage of, and that is why this direct clash cannot.
Can you remember any caste movement from North India? Any caste movement?
So Yadav have been active in politics, but
Okay. Srishti.
yes, sir.
Srishti,